Welcome back to my channel Avanti Morocha. Today I'm going to show you the difference between adhesive vinyl and heat transfer vinyl, also known as iron-on. They look similar, so it's easy to get confused. Now let's begin. Here I have adhesive vinyl and on the right I have heat transfer vinyl. Everything you see here is adhesive vinyl that can be purchased as rolls or sheets. Something very distinctive of adhesive vinyl is that it has a white backing with a grid. As you can see, I have different brands of this material and all of them have it. There are different types of adhesive vinyl. You can get vinyl that is permanent, removable, solid color, pattern, glitter, etc. If you are planning to make decals to apply on mugs, thermos, tumblers, window cards, one of the most recommended materials is Oracle 651. Cricut also has a permanent vinyl. When you are using adhesive vinyl, you always need to use transfer tape. If you live in the US or Canada, you can get this contact liner available at the dollar store. This is an alternative to use transfer tape and it's cheaper. Depending on the kind of project you are making, it can be quite useful. Adhesive foil is pretty similar to adhesive vinyl, the main difference being that the adhesive foil has a metal finish and reflects light. This is one of my favorite materials to personalize mugs. However, if you use it, avoid placing it in the microwave since this material reflects light. You can place adhesive vinyl over plastic, glass, wood, leather, paper, and more. Here I have heat transfer vinyl. As you can see, it also comes in rolls and sheets. Depending on the brand, heat transfer vinyl may have other names. Cricut call it iron-on, Silhouette call it heat transfer, Easy With and Arteza refer to it as simply heat transfer vinyl. Also, you will often hear the abbreviation HTV. Depending on the brand, the backside of heat transfer vinyl can be similar to the color of the material but matte, and in other cases can be white. When using heat transfer vinyl, also known as iron-on, you will need a heat press. Some people may use a household iron, however, for my experience, it would be better if you use an easy press or heat press, especially if you are planning to use it more than once. When you are using a heat press, it's recommended to protect the material with a piece of parchment or Teflon paper. The primary use of this material is on fabric, with 100% cotton being the best material for it. However, you can also use it on canvas, muslin, wool, polyblend, polyester, etc. If you are using a synthetic material, ensure you are using the correct temperature. You can also use it over cardboard, faux leather, wood. Some people apply it to mugs, but I don't think that is the best option. Now I'm going to show you how to cut and apply adhesive vinyl and heat transfer vinyl. I'm going to use Cricut and Cameo. I'm in design space. For this example, I'm going to use text. I've already typed hello. I'm going to format the letter spacing to -0.5. Now I'm going to change the fill color to white so you can see what I'm doing. If you want this part of the text to be cut as a single piece, you need to weld it together. Select everything and click on Weld. Since the letter H doesn't have any link to letter E, it will remain alone. Now click on Make It. When using adhesive vinyl, you don't need to mirror the design. Click on Continue. Select the material. I'm going to click on vinyl. If you're using a specific kind of vinyl like glitter vinyl, click on Browse All Materials and select the one you are using. Now load the fine point blade and load the mat. As you can see, now I'm in Silhouette Studio. I'm also going to use text. I already typed the word hello. Now open the Modify panel and click on Weld. Now click on Send. I'm using tool 1, the material is vinyl. The action is cut and the tool is the auto blade. I'm going to use the default settings. If you haven't used this material before, I recommend making a test cut. I'm going to click on Send. When you place a piece of adhesive vinyl on a Cricut or Cameo mat, you have to do it with the white gridded side on the mat. The cut is done. Now I'm going to start the weeding. Depending on the project, for example, if you were making a stencil, you will remove the letters instead. Now, place a piece of transfer tape on top. Use the scraper on the front and back. Remove the backing diagonally. Done. Now I'm going to place it on the plastic case of my sewing machine. Use the scraper to ensure the vinyl attaches to the plastic. Now remove the backing at an angle. Done, the transfer is completed. If you want to, you can save the piece of transfer tape and reuse it in another project. You can keep using it as long as it is sticky. I'm back in Cricut Design Space. I'm going to use the same text that I modified at the beginning of the video. Now click on Make It. When you use Heat Transfer Vinyl, also known as iron-on, you need to activate the mirror button. This is going to flip the design horizontally. Now click on Continue. Select the material. I'm going to click on Everyday Iron-On. If you are using a specific iron-on, go to Browse All Materials and select it. Load the fine point blade and the mat. Now I'm in Silhouette Studio. I'm going to use the same text I modified at the beginning of the video. Since I'm going to use Heat Transfer Vinyl, I need to flip the design, select everything, go to Object, Mirror, and click on Flip Horizontally. Now click on Send. I'm using Tool 1. The material is Heat Transfer Smooth. The action is cut. The tool is the auto blade. I'm using the default settings. If you haven't used this material before, I recommend making a test cut. I'm going to click on Send. When placing a piece of heat transfer vinyl on a Cricut or Cameo mat, you need to do it with the shiny side facing down. The back side of this heat transfer vinyl is white, but this depends on the brand. This one is the same color than the material but matte. If I place this material on the mat, it will be the same way, with the shiny side facing down. I finished cutting this piece. Now I'm going to weed it. As I mentioned in some of my videos, I don't have a 20/20 vision, which is why I like to use the Cricut Bright Pad when weeding. The only function of the Bright Pad is to give you light. Now that I have the design ready, I'm going to turn on my Easy Press. I preheat the Easy Press following the instruction of the heat transfer vinyl I'm using. First, remove any wrinkles from the piece. Place the design. If you want, you can protect the fabric with a piece of parchment or Teflon paper. Follow the instructions of the material you are using. This one asks for a temperature of 300 degrees Fahrenheit and a press time of 15 seconds front and back. The instructions say to leave it cool completely. Now that it's completely cool, remove the backing diagonally. Done. Now the transfer is completed. Now I'm going to show you a couple of projects where I use adhesive vinyl and others where I use heat transfer vinyl. Depending on the project, you may need to use permanent or removable adhesive vinyl. Please don't get confused by the name permanent. This only means it's more durable. When using heat transfer vinyl and based on the material, ensure you are using the correct temperature settings. I hope you like this video and you find it informative. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If you are interested in a Cricut or a silhouette cameo, I'm going to share the links where you can buy them in the info box below the video. If you are new to my channel and you like what you see, hit the subscription button, tap the notification bell so you get informed every time I release a new video. Don't forget to visit my blog, follow me on my social media, like this video and share it with your loved ones. See you soon! Ciao, ciao!